Hi, this is Pat Moorhead with More Insights and Strategy, and I am super excited to be here with Melody Brue for our first episode of the Hot Desk podcast. We're talking modern work, we're talking employee experience, collaboration, UC, UCAS, productivity, call centers, and then ESG and DEI related to the employee experience. Mel, how are you doing?
Doing great. I'm happy it's Friday, but Fridays are always video days, and as you know, clearly you've done a lot today. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a big week. It's been a nice, fun week, and got lots done, and ready to wrap it up.
I know it's Cinco de Mayo, and I'm curious. Have you snuck any tequila yet?
Not yet. I'm planning on it though.
I know we really should have done an opening on here. We wouldn't be the first podcast to have a few drinks and have a little fun while we're at it. And I'm downtown right now. I can see kind of what's going on down there,
Oh,
and
there's probably a lot.
I think it's starting to heat up here. So who
Yeah.
knows? I might have to sneak down there after work today and go check out things. But no, super excited here, and maybe a great place to start is you know talk. Let's talk about the show itself. I mean, I know I kind of did the cold intro there, but anything you'd like to add there?
Yeah, no, I think, we'll just kind of come on, and obviously Hot Desk is sort of a play on what's happening right now in modern work and hybrid work with people, not necessarily having a committed desk. But really, I think it's just hot topics from our desks where we'll come on every week and just talk about what's going on in the space, kind of some new trends, tools, trajectories, all the what, people are referring as the next normal in modern work. And maybe we'll talk devices sometimes, we'll talk about call centers, we'll talk about all the things.
I think that's great, and I just want to give you 100% of the credit for the name of the show. A lot of people do brainstorming, and that means more than one person is participating in it. You came with up with all the ideas. I came in with I goose egged. It was just not in a creative state of mind when we were talking through this. But I like Hot Desk for all the reasons you said. And hot takes. I mean, as analysts, we are giving hot takes 24/7. And
Yep.
I always like to say to the team, we don't get paid for news. I mean, news, we have people who cover that, right? We get paid for our informed and experienced opinions on
Yep.
stuff. So let's dive in. New desk, who dis? What's going on here? By the way, I
So
also give you credit on the creativity, but also for coming up with a very good Forbes headline.
yeah, that one's fun. Yeah, so this, hot desking is just a really big topic right now in hybrid work. It really solves a lot of issues, everything from kind of the device standpoint to best use of real estate. When somebody's only coming into the office once or twice a week, it really doesn't make sense for people to have dedicated offices anymore. And so for people just to be able to check into a desk, to check into a device, a lot of times that's by scanning a QR code on your phone. Ring Central has a solution for that. Cisco has a bunch of solutions for that. Zoom is doing different like Zoom spaces and rooms where you can reserve a desk online. You can collaborate with, by department. So you say, today I need to work with operations. I'm going to go sit with where the operations people are. So really it's about getting the most out of the time that you're in the office rather than just going to an office to then sit on a computer and do the same things that you would do at home. Like Cisco's been talking a lot lately about, earning the commute. So the work that we're doing at home is very different than the work that we're doing in the office. And so this enables people to go into the office, do the work that they need to do in kind of that more collaborative setting, and then be home the other days that they're not. We've found that people, I think there's a big argument to be made that there wasn't enough data pre-pandemic to know how productive people really are in a hybrid work situation. So I think that's still a little bit TBD. There's sort of conflicting data out there that some companies say that they get more out of employees when they're in the office, but the employees don't want to be there in the office all the time. So if they don't want to, are they really going to get the most out of them? So I think this is going to be an evolving thing, and hot desking really sort of helps to solve that in at least the midterm of like, have a place for people to be when they wanna be in the office where they can work. They log into something and it has their calendar, their contacts, everything that's, that they would have just on a personal device. It also is really great for shift work so that you can log in and you have all of your login information and everything that you need to do your job, but you don't necessarily have to be at have a dedicated desk or carry around a device with you to make that happen.
Yeah, it's funny. Everybody thinks hot desking is new. It's not.
No.
When I first started my career in 1990, I had a hot desk. I was a
Mhm.
salesperson, and I was expected to be out in the field, and I hot desked, and we had a little computer on a swivel. I'm not kidding you that we would swivel around, and it would be shared between two people who were hot desking because PCs were really expensive back then, but you had to put in your essentially it was a text based CRM of sales calls that you would do. It is getting very smooth though, right? Where you can
Mhm.
actually reserve a desk that,
Yes.
that you have before you can come in. If
Yes.
you didn't reserve a desk and you want to know where there is a desk, you can t- uh, click the touch screen. I know Cisco has a pretty savvy solution around this. It'll tell you, it will map you on where you need to go. And there's
Yep.
sensors actually at the hot desk to know if you're actually sitting there or
Mhm.
not, to determine what's been reserved, what hasn't been reserved, but there might be somebody squatting in there. So the tech is getting better and the experience is getting better as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is all about making the experience good because you don't want people to come into an office, not have a place to sit. They've commuted, they've gotten in, people are used to being at home, kinda used to that flexibility, so you want that experience to be good when they get there, and, now all these rooms are all, outfitted with the right things that you need, so if you know you're gonna have a meeting and you need a conference center or a conference room,
Yeah.
you can go on, like you were saying, this touch screen, you pick it out, you know how many people are gonna be in there, gives you the right room. Now, with everything, like with all these IoT devices, they can tell you what the temperature is in the room. You can adjust the temperature. You can, monitor how many people have been in there. And, there's just so much. Meetings are getting a lot smarter.
Let's move to the next topic. You and I both spent a few days with Zoho here in Austin at the AT&T Conference Center at Zoholics.
Yes. Yes.
It was super interesting to get back together. And for those of you who might not be familiar with Zoho, they are the leader in small business suite. Now, it doesn't mean they're not working on they don't have mid tier and large enterprise customers. They do. And in fact, they also have a white label business, but they're very successful in the small business. What piqued your interest?
Yeah, actually, the small businesses, what they released on small businesses, kind of being able to set up an LLC or corporation, and basically kind of go from setup to like full CRM, full any like phone systems, anything that you need, all built into this one kind of modular sort of stackable, buildable solution. I think it's really smart. I do think, in general, and this was sort of, I think, a feeling felt throughout. There were a lot of announcements that they made. They're kind of trying to do a lot of things at once. They're sort of, in a way, all over the place, but because all of these things are so modular and they can kind of build on each other, we heard from a lot of their customers that, they started out with just their CRM solution, and then they go to like having everything, the full suite. And, they're getting into places like, payroll. They've launched in California and in a couple of other countries. They'll be launching in, I think, 15 other states soon. Just being able to add all of these things onto something that people are kind of spending their day anyway, kind of this like tech stack where you can kind of do everything. You can send an invoice, you can pay your employees, you can create your LLC, you can, put everything into your CRM. There's so much that you can do that it can sometimes appear just a little bit like, whoa, that's a lot. How are you going to do all these things really well? But because it is kind of that buildable stack, um, I actually last night at the dinner ended up sitting with one of their customers, and it's funny, I get why they call it Zoholics now, because their customers are really fanatics. Like,
Right.
they really I've never seen, I mean, I've been to a lot of these, kind of user groups and trade show kind of scenarios where they have customers talking. I have not seen one that where the customers are so, um, like, passionate
Yeah.
about their products. So, I thought that was really interesting. So, I really like that. I mean, that small businesses, like you said, they're really good at that small business, size. They are, kind of going upstream. But this just sort of feeds in more. I mean, we all know not all small businesses are gonna succeed, but the ones that do, they're sort of raising them on Zoho. They're bringing them in that way, and then they can just continue to offer them more services. So, I think it's a smart move by them, and then, of course, they had AI. And
Yeah, really hitting the areas for modern workspace. So meeting, click, mail, writer, desk, and maybe even CRM from a user experience point of view. And in areas that you might expect, like for writer, right, suggesting headlines, title, word placements, punctuation, content, asking questions within the content,
Mhm.
and integrating those answers in there. I'm an ex product builder, and I want to use it before I weigh in on it,
Yeah.
for sure. One of the end user products they did go GA on was EULA, which is a browser. You might be saying, why on earth do we need another browser out there? We have
Yeah.
we have Google and we have Microsoft, and then kind of this trail of everybody else.
Mhm.
I do think that there were some side. I think I saw you running it next to me
Yes.
yourself, and I do think they have some unique things on privacy, and not that,
Mhm.
for instance, Microsoft Edge doesn't have privacy, but they have some pretty unique ways to surface it, but also 4 or 5 modalities that I thought were unique as well, and being able to save websites and links based on the modality that you want, I thought was interesting. And by the way, excuse me if that's a feature that's already in something like Edge or Chrome, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't see that much. I mean, I really do think that part was interesting, and then there's, like, kind of the kid version of the browser, which you kind of wouldn't really think for sort of an enterprise software solution, but the reality is a lot of people have devices at home that our kids use. So, they do have that modality for kid. They have work, they have personal. So, like, if I'm on the work, um, mode and I want to go check out Facebook, it'll actually suggest to me that I do that in personal mode. So it really helps to kind of keep you on task
Interesting.
in your various things. So or if I'm in personal and I want to go into, say, I've already programmed it to whenever I go on the More Insights and Strategy site to go into this one particular what did we just get up, Daniel?
That's Daniel. Yeah, the 7.5 is live. That's good. Hey, Daniel, thanks for watching. Please hit that subscribe button.
That was funny. I just saw that pop up. Um, but to be able to kind of keep your things, it sort of helps keep your browser organized, even if you're in several different modes at once. Like you said, do we need a new browser? It's sort of, I think one use case that I could see it being really useful for is somebody who really does spend their day in Zoho
Yeah.
with the various, functions. I could see that being something that could add value there. I'm not sure how much I wanna be switching around from browsers, but, like you said, we're always testing things. We get to see things before others do, which actually can well, no, that's not our next thing, but we'll talk about Microsoft and Bing. But, I am switching around from different browsers right now because I like to test what people have coming out, and we get access to it, so I like to sometimes I like to be the smart one in the group. Somebody starts talking about something and I'm like, "Oh, you don't have access to that? Oh,
It's
we got access
exactly what
to
I do. I
that."
need to touch it and feel it and use it, and that's the product in me. Let's jump into Box.com introduced Box AI for enterprise content. Is this just another AI, or is there something unique here?
So I think there's something unique here, and I think that what is really unique about this is that it really is within your enterprise content. So if you have, let's, give like an example of one of the demos that they did was a project launch. So you can actually take a whole plan from a project launch and get all of the things that, need to be done and everything and create from that content, use the generative AI to create a job description for somebody you need to hire who could actually launch that product. And then, from that, you can make social media posts about it. So it's generating content based on the content that you already have in Box. So I think that part's really interesting because it's not being trained on just everything that's out there in the world. You can actually feed it your information that you want it to kind of create from within that secure Box environment.
Yeah, and that is really the hallmark of Box, protected workloads for content.
Mhm.
And I got to tell you, I want all of this stuff. I want to try this out. I'll
I
put it
know.
into my work stream. One
Yeah.
of the areas, one of the companies that I use a lot today is Microsoft Bing and Edge, infused with AI. They made a major announcement this week as well.
Mhm. Yeah, I've been using that as well, and I really do like it. I love the combination of the Gen AI with the search because, whereas opposed to where we're talking with Box, where it's content based, if it's search based, you can really just get anything. And I was on a briefing with Microsoft actually earlier this week, and they were talking about how people use it for learning. And it's really a great tool for learning, which ironically, schools hate it. They're trying to ban it. There's several companies that are banning it for different reasons for privacy. But in terms of like ChatGPT, schools don't want kids to use it because they're just thinking of plagiarism. And really, until there's a way to really identify whether something's been plagiarized using, or actually not even plagiarized, it's been generated by AI. I think schools are not going to get comfortable using it. But if you use it, it is literally the world's best tutor. And what I really like about Bing is that it cites the sources. So it's not it's not hallucinating because you can double check the sources. It's not just like when you go into just the ChatGPT modality and it's like, ask it a question and it's going to make stuff up. In Bing, you actually can search something and it will give you where that content, where that information came from. So I actually let my kids use it. I encourage them to use it. I want them to ask questions. I want them to help use it to help study. I wish schools that would get more on board with that and, kind of really just create more guidelines for it where kids can use it, just like in companies. There are guidelines where we use it or we don't, or use it responsibly. It's responsible AI. It's got to go. These kids have got to learn how to use it. I mean, look, we're talking about companies are replacing people with AI, or you're going to have these skills knowing how to use AI in order to remain relevant in your job. So if you don't know how to automate tasks and use a lot of these AI tools, you're going to be in some trouble. So I think it's actually great for our kids to be learning these things.
Yeah, so I updated, didn't go GA, went open preview. That means to everybody.
Oh,
The productivity
right.
features that I'm most excited about is chat history. There's
Mhm.
an improved Edge sidebar that apparently works better with things like videos, PDFs, and things like that. I'm super stoked about this. But what I'm hoping we're going to have a conversation soon is Microsoft 365, allowing more people to use that. It's a
Yeah.
very very tight beta use case right now, but super excited about that. Hey, let's jump into our next topic: hot or not. Part of the hot desk, hot take. So, what is hot? What is not?
So I think first let's explain hot or not, because I think this is something we'll want to do each week. We'll talk about some sort of emerging trend and see, like, is this hot? Is this going to stick around? Something people are talking about a lot right now um, is the video contact center. And when you think about like customer call centers, you think it's a call. Maybe it starts out with a chat, then it could escalate to a call. Now there's just been a lot of talk about engaging with customers over video. And when companies start to talk about this, it's funny the questions that get asked. It's like, do people really want to be on video with a stranger?
Yeah.
Do people who are in contact centers have high turnover rate? These people are really taxed. I mean, think about how often you get they're not getting happy calls typically. They're getting customers who are frustrated and mad and something's not working and whatever. And so they already have a demanding job to keep these customers happy. Do they really want to be on video with them? So it's like just another thing, is this going to work? But a couple of things that I really like about this is, one, sometimes you just need to see a person to really kind of connect with them and to have, and sometimes it's just easier, like hop on a quick video chat and talk to them. And now with AI, everything, all of that chat can still be summarized and gathered. It doesn't have to be, nobody has to take a bunch of time to make notes after the call. But there's also, more personalized interactions. It really kind of reduces the customer effort on their end. They can just, press a button. The other part of it that I really like is the see what I see technology. So, like, if I'm
Right.
calling because my TV's not working, somebody can actually say, "Share your video with me," and then I can just show them, "This is what's happening." It's really great for troubleshooting. I mean, think about, like, all the things that happen even in automotive, where you're on the road and something's happening with your car, and, rather than wait for somebody to show up with a tow truck or some mechanic to come, you might be able to just do this, see what I see, and troubleshoot and get it done. So whether people are gonna wanna be on video in call centers, I'm not entirely sure, but I think if you just kinda make that one level of the escalation that can, if it gets to that, that's available for people, I think it can be, pretty engaging.
No, I look forward to that. And video call centers are sexy again, using
Yeah.
a lot of the speech stuff that they're integrating in there is pretty amazing. And you just added an interesting video use case. So this is all the time we have today. I want to thank
Yep.
for everybody coming to the preview of the Hot Desk podcast. We're going to improve this show over time. I think we decided to do this 3 days ago. So
Yes, we
here
did.
we are. We wanted to kick this off and get this off, but we're going to be here likely every other Friday. And if you have any topics you might want to suggest or have some improvements for Mel and I, you know where to find us on social media, particularly Twitter or LinkedIn, is if that's where you consume your content. You can also obviously hear us on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And you might be listening to that right now. But if you like what you heard, hit that subscribe button. We would appreciate it. Take care and have a great weekend.
And have a nice margarita.